Okay, welcome back after our lunch break. We have already reached the healthcare sessions. The first sessions we have today is on MEDtech and eHealth, and I'm very happy that we have 5 companies pitching in front of our investors. We have 2 companies on site. Welcome to the sessions, and 3 online, and we have also High-Tech Gründerfonds here with us on site, and many investors are joining online. The companies presenting today have been selected by our investor jury, and as most of them are joining online, a quick update on the rules for the sessions. We have a 5 minutes pitch per company, followed by a 3 minute of Q&A, and I ask to answer the questions asked by investors very straight to the point, as we have very limited time. Investors joining via Zoom online, please use the raise hand function if you have a question. If you have a question in the audience, just raise your hand here. And so that we can identify you, I ask all online participants to please rename yourself in Zoom to your name and your company so that we know who is asking a question. And as we have many online participants today, we want to give some special meeting opportunity, some additional meeting opportunity next week on Monday, online via Zoom. So if you can't meet a company here, you can still schedule some meetings for next week, Monday. We do a full day of online one-to-one meetings from 10 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we will constantly share forms today where you can select companies you want to meet at a time slot, and then we put you in contact. And even if you are not available on Monday, we will be happy to connect you with our companies. So I want to quickly introduce our participating investors. I'm just waiting for the slide. Here we go. This is our investor jury for our MEDtech eHealth session. We have representatives from Borski Fund, from Brega, from Hedian Ventures, High-Tech Gründerfonds, Jose de Mello, Omnis Capital, Project A, Panakis Partners, Venture City is here, Octopus Ventures, and Red Alpine as well. Thank you everybody for joining, and now we want to move ahead with our first pitch. And I hand it on to Able Human Motion. Alphonse, please take it over.
My name is Alphonse Carnicero, CEO of Able Human Motion, which is a Barcelona-based startup with the mission of enabling mobility for all. Mobility is a fundamental part of living in society autonomously and freely. However, 1 billion people worldwide see their mobility and independence reduced due to a neurological disease, being the most common causes stroke and spinal cord injury. These individuals could walk if they had an exoskeleton to restore the affected movements. However, current devices are very expensive, as they cost about 100,000 euros. Too heavy and require professional supervision. Therefore, exoskeletons are only found in large hospitals and are out of the reach of the patient. This is why we present Able, the first light, easy to use and accessible solution for them. With only 11 kilograms, it will become the lightest exoskeleton in the market due to the use of advanced materials and a proprietary cable-driven actuator technology. Easy to use with novel motion control techniques that offer seamless user-machine interaction and accessible seeking home use. The exoskeleton is accompanied by Able Care, a cloud-based mobile app that enhances the rehabilitation experience for patients and clinicians, enabling a more personalized and data-driven therapy with real-time adjustments and progress metrics. Our product will be introduced to clinical institutions via direct sales with a capital acquisition of 40,000 euros, followed by recurrent revenue streams of 2,000 euros a year, which include software subscriptions, maintenance, advanced training, and accessories. Once the product is deployed successfully in the clinics, we will unleash the version for community use through our network of distributors. Here, the role of some current partners like Toyota, partner of the Paralympic Committee, will be key to scale up. Our potential market is made up of hospitals with rehabilitation units and people with gait impairments due to a stroke or a spinal cord injury, which represents a market of more than 2 billion euros in Europe and the United States. We aim to acquire 2% of this market in a 5-year commercialization period, so 49 million euros. The cost of competitor devices ranges from 100 to 150,000 euros and weight from 14 to 28 kilograms. We have managed to drastically lower down the cost and weight of this technology while offering improved functionalities, which will drive a much faster market adoption. In just 3 years, we have patented our technology internationally and developed 6 design iterations to ensure product market fit. Over 90 patients have tested the device, walking more than 130,000 steps. Multicenter clinical trials have been performed in reference hospitals of Germany and Spain, and our quality system has been certified according to ISO 13485. Next year, we will obtain the CE mark as a medical device and officially launch our product at the leading conference on rehabilitation, the Rehab Week. First sales will start in early 2023 in clinical institutions of Germany, Spain, Benelux, and the Nordic countries, followed by efficacy clinical trials and an expansion to new European geographies in 2024 and North America in 2025. Future activities include the commercial deployment of the product for community use and growing our product portfolio for mild walking impairments and the elderly population. Thus far, we raised 700,000 euros from private investors, including Bank Sabadell via startup, investment vehicles specialized in healthcare, and business angels, and 1.5 million euros from competitive public grants of the European Commission and eHealth. We were also accelerated by Boston CMIT, the most successful health accelerator in the world. Now we are looking for a 2 million euros investment with a strategic partner to achieve the CE mark and launch B2B sales in Europe. A third part of the funds will be allocated to marketing and sales, 26% to clinical trials, 15% to regulatory and IP, and 9% to production. Our team is led by Alex, who previously worked at robotic tech companies, Douglas, previous marketing director of our main competitor, Anna and Elena, with extensive experience in regulatory and clinical affairs, and me, an entrepreneur with MEDtech industry experience. We are complemented by an advisory board with thought leaders in the field, like Marc Cortés from Mount Sinai, Paolo Bonato from Spalding Rehab, and John Collins from CIMIT. Our disruptive technology is on a mission to empower every person in a wheelchair. Join us and make this happen.
Thank you very much, Alphonse. Great presentation. I hand it over to our jury now. Do we have any questions for Alphonse and Able Human Motions? Okay, João, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is João Milomes. I'm the head of innovation at José de Melo Capital, based in Lisbon, Portugal. 2 quick questions. One about the product itself. Is it one size fits all, or does it have to be custom made? Where is it going to be, and where is it going to be produced?
Yeah, it's a one size fits all, so you can adjust the size from 150 meter to 190, and this adjustment is made by hand without needing external tools, and it can be done in a matter of seconds. And it will be produced in our facilities in Barcelona. So we have several suppliers around the world, and what we do is the assembly of the product.
Okay. Does it require any assistance to install the equipment? So if I'm in a wheelchair, do I need someone to help me fit the equipment, or can I do it all by myself?
That's a good point. And this is something that we have strengthened during the development. So users can use the device completely autonomously, from putting on to walking and to taking it off.
One final question. What is your commercial strategy? Is it direct sales? Are you going to sell directly to clinics and hospitals?
Yes, we will go direct sales in some countries, and there are other countries that we will go through distributors, which we are already in contact with them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have an on-site question from Marco Winzer, Hightech Gründerfonds. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Alphonse, for your pitch. Very interesting. Marco from Hightech Gründerfonds. My question is about your clinical trials you have run in Spain and Germany, you mentioned. Could you please explain what was the end point of these clinical trials? What was the end point, the result, what you showed?
Yeah, those were clinical trials to demonstrate the usability and the safety of the device in a clinical environment. This is something that is required for regulatory purposes for the CE mark, and that is where we collected this data to obtain later the CE mark. But these are no efficacy trials. This is something that we will do in the coming years. But the outcomes were mostly like the number of adverse events, and also then we had, so, for example, the time donning and doffing, that this is something that we have seen that it has improved by 80% related to all our competitors. And also other like gate metrics we were analyzing to compare our device with other devices in the market.
So efficacy trials you will do in the future, but this is necessary for this product, yeah?
Exactly. With the money that we request, we aim to do these efficacy clinical trials in some clinical institutions that we are already in contact with, and then also to launch the sales in Europe.
Time is over. Thank you for answering all those questions. If we have additional questions for Alphonse and Able Human Motion, I ask you to schedule a meeting with them. You can do this by clicking on the link my colleague Marcia is sharing in the chat. Then you can select the company you want to see and a time slot. We will put you in contact. And if you are currently watching our broadcast stream, you will unfortunately not be able to click on the link, but we will share an email address at the end of the session where you can reach out directly to us. With that said, thanks again, Alphonse, and we move over to our first on-site presentation, and I want to hand it over to Gora from Anaida Technologies.
Start. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to the organizers, and thank you for all of you for joining, both live and online. I'm Gora Conley. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Anaida Technologies. In our company, the mission is quite simple, and is to help people to make babies. But you might ask, why would they need our help in achieving this goal? They changed the slides for me. So I should say next slide. Next slide. Next slide. All right. Okay. So as I was saying, we're helping people to make babies because the simple way doesn't always work out. So a growing number of couples turn to alternatives like in vitro fertilization, but it's very expensive and the success rate is not so great. Next slide. So you want success the first time instead of going through multiple cycles. And one of the key aspects to gaining that success during a cycle lies in the doctor's ability to choose the best embryo for transfer. But today's technology is still insufficient for the job. You have the standard, which is morphological analysis, is still qualitative and unreliable. We're adding more data-driven decision with genetics, but this is still slow and requires an invasive biopsy to be achieved. Next slide. And this is where we come in. We're developing a device that will support the doctors in choosing the right embryo the first time. It comes as a consumable, like the one you see in the picture, that we're going to sell directly to the IVF clinics. Next slide. It's based on a non-invasive technology, magnetic resonance, which is the same one behind MRI. All the doctor will have to do is place multiple embryos from the same patient in one of these devices, connect it to a machine for analysis, and get back a simple result, which is the embryos scored for viability. Next slide. The business model is quite simple. It's the familiar Nespresso model. So we provide the consumable sensor to the clinic, and in turn, they offer the screening service to their patients as part of the overall IVF cycle. Additionally, we provide the machine for analysis to the clinics so they have access to a full turnkey solution. With competitive pricing of our sensors, we estimate an average size clinic to generate about $500,000 in revenue per year. And with over 1,000 clinics just in Europe, you can see how quickly this can add up. Next slide. So the market is already a global market, and it keeps on growing because fertility, as we know, is a growing issue worldwide. But Europe is still one of the largest and most interesting segments, with over 600,000 IVF cycles done every year. And globally, we see over $1 billion spent just on the embryo screening part. So our goal in entering this market is to reach $100 million in revenue by 2030, which is about 8% of the global market share. And this is actually quite feasible and reasonable because if we look at the recent market trends, we're seeing more and more clinics joining together and forming larger groups, which under the same name are serving thousands and thousands of patients. Groups like EV and Eugene, which are headquartered in Spain but have a global presence, alone serve tens of thousands of cycles every year. Next slide. And since the beginning, we've been engaging with key opinion leaders from all over the world, including some of these clinics that we just mentioned. The largest clinic in Switzerland, one of the largest groups in the world, they're already part of our journey, and we're ready to start the first research study next year, looking at the first donated human material. Also, the head of Stanford IVF has joined us as an advisor, and more are likely to follow. Next slide. So where do we stand and where are we going? We incorporated just a little over 2 years ago, and since then, next slide, we've been able to raise over $3 million in funding, mostly non-dilutive. Next slide. This is funding that has enabled us to validate, advance the validation of the technology, show the safety of using this technology on embryos. Next slide. Very important results. But now we're raising a pre-Series A of $4 million to deliver the clinical MVP. Next slide. With that in hand and the machine in the clinics, will be ready for clinical validation with a target of delivering the first baby in 4 years max. Next slide. Plan is ambitious, but we have a great team to back it up. Myself and Marco were the co-founders, physicists and engineers by training, but full-time entrepreneurs. And the rest of the core team brings all the necessary skills from engineering all the way to embryology to make this a reality. And of course, we're backed also by a great team of advisors, including a Nobel Prize in our technical field, and also, as I mentioned before, the head of Stanford IVF to cover all questions relating to clinical matters. Next slide. So if you're interested in the ANAIDA opportunity for investment, please reach out, and I'll be here to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gora. Great presentation. Excuse the technical problems, but I think you did very well. So I check very quickly with our jury. Do we have any questions? Okay, Georgina, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm wondering if you can comment on competitor approaches, for example, the use of AI and image analysis on embryo assessment.
Yes. So we're seeing a lot the rise of AI, of course, and we foresee this becoming an important part of our development as well, because we also produce new type of data, and the combination with existing type of data can only bring further advantages, that's for sure. The limitation we see with, let's say, the current AI offerings is that at the core, they're using the existing available data, which so far has more or less peaked at the success rates that we see now. So the novelty we're bringing is, say, a new angle, a new quantitative information that is not available simply through, say, combining the data differently.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Do we have more from the jury? Okay, from Panankes, Barbara, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Wanted to know if you have already tested in some way the efficacy of the device, if you have any model that you could use to test how the device is efficacious before going in human trials.
So, so we've been moving through, let's say, tests of growing complexity. We started with microorganisms, then we moved on to human microtissues, where we could start doing groupings of good and bad. And recently, we tested the device on bovine embryos, again separated into different groups of, let's say, so-called good and bad embryos. And we chose the bovine because, interestingly enough, it's the closest model to human for this kind of application. And with the next round, we aim to go further and do trials where we also transfer the embryos. So for now, we could show that with the technology, we're able to discriminate between different embryo categories. The next step is to transfer the embryos and then do, let's say, correlation with the information that we gather.
Okay, thank you. So if we can do one more quick question. Okay, we're checking if there are some. Okay, Apolonio Huerta, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I think going on this last question, what are you using to then kind of classify these embryos into good or bad if ultimately what you're looking at is success rate after implantation? So have you done implants?
So we have not done implants.
Okay.
So there are, let's say, different time points where you can, let's say, observe the so-called quality of the embryo. And even if you transfer, then it becomes, let's say, a long and a complex question. We took embryos that within the time frame that they can spend in vitro, were able to either develop fully or had some problems in development that could be observed via other techniques. So we would correlate with that. Yeah, the next step, of course, as you mentioned correctly, is we want the ultimate correlation with does it become a baby or not. But their success rate, as I mentioned, becomes a more complex topic. I mean, different clinics will claim 95% success, and this is just for getting a positive pregnancy test after 2 weeks. Some call a success the first trimester, some call a success second trimester, and very few will claim success in terms of babies born. But yeah, these numbers are less exciting to advertise.
Okay, thank you very much. We need to stop here. Time is over. Thank you very much for the presentation and your answers. Thanks a lot for the questions as well. Thank you very much. If you want to meet Anaida and Gora, please now go to the Zoom chat, click on the link and schedule a meeting. We are happy to connect. And then we're moving forward to our next company, which is Capri Medical from Ireland. And I hand it over to Fergal, who is already online.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Fergal, and I'm the founder of Capri Medical. And at Capri Medical, our mission is to enable or to eliminate the referral difficulty in chronic pain treatment. So today, chronic migraine is a big problem. Chronic migraine is when a patient has a migraine 15 days within a month, 15 migraine days. So it's a big problem for chronic migraine patients. We also know that there's 144 million chronic migraine patients globally and 20 million new patients entering the healthcare system annually. The European Headache Federation, quote, neurostimulation is a promising but invasive and expensive device. New devices are needed. Today, there's a long patient pathway before patient receives a neurostimulation device. Often they start with primary, then they're referred to neurologists, then pain specialists, and the last treatment option is neurostimulation. Today's platform is a common IPG platform. It's a large pacemaker type device with long leads that are tunneled within the patient. So our mission is to create a new platform for the industry, and that is not only that moving backwards through the patient pathway from the very last option to a much better option for our patients. Today, only 10% of physicians in the US are surgically trained. And of this 10%, this results in the 10 billion neurostimulation market. So 10% of the available physicians result in a 10 billion market today. So our mission is to unlock the other 90% of the market with a new non-surgical solution for neurostimulation treatment. This is our solution. It's called Luna, the Luna system. There's a number of devices, including Luna Control, which is a wearable device which provides power into the implant being Luna Air, which provides neurostimulation treatment for the patient. It's all enabled with Luna Inject, which delivers the implant to the desired location and is controlled via an app called Luna App. This product suite enables new non-surgical markets and higher throughput in existing markets. It is a platform product. It will support migraine, spinal cord, lower back pain, sleep apnea, and epilepsy indications. The non-surgical physician is enabled via Luna Inject. There is a good predicate in this market. If you look at the contraceptive implant today, that's administered by non-surgical, even nurses in various clinics around the world today. It's a volume product. And we draw our inspiration from that device. So Luna Inject enables the non-surgical market. We do have very strong IP in this space. It's a single-handed procedure for non-surgical physicians, self-anchoring and reduced risk of infection and revision. We do have competition in this space. However, we are the only product in the market that enables the non-surgical physicians. We do have advanced IP in wireless power, which again enables more flexibility for implant devices. We have also IP in advanced stimulation parameters, and our platform is future-proof for sensor integration for advanced closed-loop therapeutic applications. So our benefits, we enable a new non-surgical market that doesn't exist today. It's a 20-minute procedure in an outpatient clinic, and it enables up to 6x patient throughput in existing surgical markets. We've got a more effective therapy called habituation, which provides longer-term efficacy over traditional stimulation techniques. We have very advanced wireless power technologies, which enable improved patient experience and new product differentiation as well. Overall, our economics is superior than traditional pharma treatments such as Botox, but also traditional neurostimulation treatments as well. And again, safety, reduced lead migration, no cannulation, and easy implementation. So today we're fundraising for 4 million euros of a total 8 million investment. This will include complete product development and regulatory approval in a 2-year timeframe. Our team is truly world-class. There's myself, the CEO and founder, Cedric, the CTO. But our chairman and our KOL are truly world-class. So Jeff is chairman. He's a former global head of neurostimulation in Medtronic. He's also making an investment in the Capri Medical. And Ricardo. So Jeff previously invested in and acquired Ricardo's company, Stimgenics. And Ricardo is joining us as KOL. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. I really welcome you to join us on our mission to enable the non-surgical physician. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Fergal, for the presentation. Very well done. I hand it over to our jury and ask for questions. So we're checking. Okay, we have one online from Georgina and then on-site from Marco. Georgina?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I'm wondering if you can speak to how you compare in terms of the level of neurostimulation with larger surgically implanted devices and the efficacy difference there.
Yeah, so from a product perspective, we'll have all of the exact same technical capabilities as today's incumbent platforms. So the exact same performance, but even possibly improved performance because we'll have additional modulation IP in habituation stimulation, which I previously talked about. And that enables better efficacy over a longer term than traditional technologies today.
Okay, thank you very much. Then Marco, on-site question.
Concerning the clinical development, where are you now? Are you first in human already? And can you give us an idea what are the next steps concerning regulatory affairs?
Yeah, so we've just completed preclinical testing in a pig model using a first prototype kind of wearable device. We've got prototypes of all of the key enabling technologies, the delivery system, the silicon chips, the implants, the wearable devices. So we've got prototypes of all of the key enabling technologies, and we've completed the first preclinical testing. We don't need first in human in order for 510K. There is a good regulatory predicate today. We can go down the road of doing first in human in order to have a 510K approval, but we don't need it for 510K approval.
Thank you very much for the questions. Time is over. Thank you very much, Fergal. Very well done. If you want to meet Fergal and Capri Medical, you can now go to the chat again, see the link to our forms, and then schedule a meeting with Fergal. And either this can take place on Monday or whenever you are available. We're happy to connect each other. So thank you very much. And we move forward to our fourth company from Switzerland now. It's MED. And I hand it over to Marina. Marina, good luck.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Marina Izzo. I'm the CEO of MED. MED stands for External Beam Ablation. And in essence, our mission is basically to treat the heart from outside. We basically want to enable non-invasive treatment of cardiac arrhythmias using proton therapy. Proton therapy, it's ventricular. So our focus is cardiac arrhythmias, and to start with, we are going to work on ventricular tachycardia. Tachycardia is a very life-threatening condition. It's a condition that, if left untreated, lead to sudden cardiac arrest and death. And basically, today it's commonly treated with medications or with a procedure called cardiac ablation, which is generally not very effective. Over time, patients tend to return with signs and symptoms of fast heart rhythm. And this is because the procedure is using tools that were developed for different applications. So they're not really suitable for the thick ventricles. So they're not really able to stop the electrical signals that are causing the abnormal rhythm. The procedure is very complex, is very risky. Many patients are not even referred to these procedures. And so there is generally a need to develop a simple procedures that can create continuous transmural homogeneous lesion. So proton therapy, the proof of concept of this treatment already exists, has been well published by the Mayo Clinic in the United States. It's a treatment that is usually treated for cancer patients. And basically, it's a new therapy that may put the heart back into rhythm in just one very simple outpatient procedures. So what is the challenge with proton therapy? The challenge is that the heart is an organ that is moving, and its motion is very complex. It spreads all over the axis. So basically what MED is developing is a unique medical device that is addressing motion in all its own components. So whether the motion is caused by respiratory pattern, or whether this is because of the contraction of the heartbeat, or whether this is because of organ drift, EBAMED has an ultrasound solution powered by artificial intelligence that is automatically collecting heart motion information in real time, and is basically controlling the external beam through a gating interface that is uniquely offering a dual gating solution for both respiratory and cardiac motion. The clinical benefits of this are obviously that we basically are able to treat a specific area of the heart, saving and sparing all nearby sensitive structures and organs. You can imagine a heart of a patient suffering from cardiac arrhythmias as a pumping function which is deteriorated. In technical terms, we talk about ejection fraction. This ejection fraction is already very low. And what we want to make sure, we want on one hand to fix the arrhythmic problem, but on the other hand, we don't want to do any additional damage to valves, coronaries, sensitive structures or nearby organs. And with proton therapy, we have the possibility to have the most controlled and precise procedures to be performed non-invasively. Now, we have done the mathematics and talked to proton therapy sites, and basically there will be, people are looking forward to testing and using our device with their patients, because certainly they understand the potential of enhancing safety and preserving the cardiac functions by sparing dose of radiation to the patients. But also they understand that the patients are demanding outpatient treatment. The patient does not need to be sedated, can walk in and walk out the procedure. The procedure is lasting a few minutes. And basically, it's a very well standardized and reproducible outcome. So, and last but not least, because this is a single fraction procedure, meaning that only the patient needs to come to the clinic only one time, basically the economics also of the proton therapy sites are very favorable, and it's possible to make a huge profit already in the year after purchasing the machine. Now, an estimated 40% of new patients suffering from ventricular tachycardia are basically not optimally treated today and could benefit from a EBAMED guided cardiac radioablation procedures. I'm presenting US figures because it's a company focused the US market, and these represent an opportunity of over 160,000 patients a year. Now, the addressable market is of course the hospitals in which there are proton equipment already installed. The number of proton sites has been growing tremendously in the last 10 years, and it's expected to continue to grow over time. In the first year of commercializations, we will be able already to deliver $5 million revenue, and in the first 5 years of commercialization to already exceed the $50 million revenue. The intention for us is to price based on use of the machine, and to have a business model which is basically competitive versus conventional ablation catheter procedures. The company is in the, can you see my slides?
Yes, we are at the
moving forward.
Fixed in a page, to be honest with you.
Exactly. What I see is in Zoom a fixed image, but I'm turning slides and see my correct slides on my side screen. So I'm not sure which slides are you looking at right now.
The solution is the proprietary CardioKit device to guide.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm already 3 or 4 slides afterwards, so I'm sure that the technician will fix it anyhow. At this point, I want to say is that basically the company has already developed a well-functioning prototype, and has already de-risked the projects with a number of engineering and clinical tests. We are now approaching the Series A fundraising, which is scheduled for March this year. Next year, sorry, 2022. We are looking for 7 million euros, of which 50% will be co-funded by the Innovation Council. And basically this money will be needed to move from a prototype development phase into a medical device development phase, to certify the company from an ISO standpoint up to the point of the first-in-man milestones. The clinical team is composed of very experienced individuals. I myself have worked for a large multinational company as well as a startup. I'm in my second year of assignment as a CEO, and my focus has always been cardiovascular. The co-founder of the company is Adriano Garonna, comes from CERN. So he has an expertise in proton therapy. And then we are also working together with Patrick Maguire, who is a key opinion leader in the field of cardiac radioablation. He himself was the CEO of CyberHeart, which is a company that was recently sold to Varian, who has a very important interest into the field of research.
Marina, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, but we are way out of time. So I would give you the chance to get one question from the jury. So one quick question from the jury to Marina and EBA-MED. Okay, Barbara, please, very quick.
Yes, Marina, hi. Look, can you just comment on who will be the call point for this technology, and how would you like to, let's say, involve in some way the electrophysiologist that today is, the owner of these patients?
Absolutely. So it's obviously these patients are owned by the electrophysiologist. So we certainly are working with them. Actually, the largest electrophysiological group in the United States, the UPenn University, the electrophysiological team has expressed a high interest in testing our technologies. Their role will be to refer these patients to their radio-oncological department. And then basically the delivery of the treatment will be finally also performed in collaboration with medical physicists.
Okay, thank you very much, Marina, for the question. If you want to follow up with EBA-MED and Marina, I ask you now to schedule meetings with the company. You can do this again via the form my colleague Marcia is sharing in the chat, or by sending an email to me later. So thank you very much, Marina, for the presentation. And we move over to our last presentation, which is an on-site presentation again. And I hand it over to Cedric from our Spectra.
Perfect. So thank you to the IC for organizing this and having us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cedric Spars, the founder of our Spectra. So our Spectra has been founded with a vision of using augmented reality solutions. We produce both hardware and software to improve the future procedures and success rates of surgeons and the eventual patient outcomes. Can we see the slides? Okay, I don't see slides there. All right. One of the first questions we had focusing on oncology was how it was possible that 500,000 cases of breast cancer per year translate in more than 2.5 surgeries a year. There's a high rate of reoccurrences of cancer, and that is how, with augmented reality, we will improve these, avoid this repetition of cancer reoccurrence. By using augmented reality in a very simple form, we changed the way the visualization of intraoperative and preoperative data is placed in the field of view of the surgeon. We improve the accuracy in a very natural way by showing data on the target, and automatically also improve the time and the cost efficiency of the procedures. This eventually also always leads to better patient outcomes. We are mainly focused on surgical procedures, looking at applications in telemedicine, open surgery, and minimally invasive surgery. Those are all particular niche markets, but all bigger than 1 billion euro. We have very specialized technology in that the end users are demanding highly, so we aim at 10 to 35% market shares. We've been working for 3 years now on this technology, went from early trials already to devices that are going to go into the market next year, improving the team, reducing the technological risks of our technology, also we are improving on the regulatory compliance, and also all our technologies have been co-developed by the eventual end users. So we develop with and for the surgeons. Looking at the competitive position of the market, as said, we are very specialized devices, and that's how we have a clear differentiation to existing medical devices and also the rising application of more general augmented reality devices like Microsoft, Magic Leap, and many others. Our distribution is mainly based on indirect distribution partnerships. Looking at the major markets, we always start with a very local ambassador-based trials, but quickly have outsource all our distribution to external partners. We have a first focus on the CE-regulated markets, mainly in Europe, and then already looking now at the FDA markets in the US. Our revenue model is a monthly license fee based on the use of the hardware and the related software to navigate the surgeons. We injected already more than 3 million euro in all the developments that we did and regulatory affairs. We are looking at a Series A equity round next year, at the end of next year, to mainly grow the existing commercial activities. We are a company that focuses internally on R&D, and we are self-sufficient on that. We are looking at partners in terms of investments to scale the markets and increase the access to all different global applications. Our team consists of a mainly mid-senior, senior team of very specialized individuals in each of the respective technological and commercial elements of bringing a medical technology to the market. We are well supported by both strategic and scientific advisors. Our main technologies have already several patent applications filed, going through national phases successfully. The company is organized in full QMS for being a MEDtech developer and also allowing all the commercial scaling afterwards. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Cedric. Great presentation, well done. Thanks for presenting on site. And I hand it over to our jury again. Do we have any questions to Cedric and our Spectra? So we're checking. Okay, we have Red Alpine. Apollonio, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. I was wondering how exactly the tech is going to be implemented in the surgical room, and how do you perceive or how do you anticipate it to be kind of adapted by surgical staff?
So the technology is standalone within an operation room. So it doesn't disturb any existing devices within the operation room, or nor does it disturb the actual action of the surgeons. They have all been developed with surgeons, so the whole procedure is basically based on getting the operation more efficient. So surgeons love the technology just for the very simple fact that if you would compare something externally, you need a subjective comparison all the time. With our glasses, we give on-site target delineations. So it's a very natural and unobtrusive way of showing where you actually have to do your action. And that's what surgeons love about the technology. It's very natural. They use it for several hours straight. And yeah, it's an improved success rate afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have more questions to Cedric? Okay, Joao?
Hi, one quick question. Wondering if you could further elaborate on the tests that you've carried out so far.
we are sharing are the ones of telemedicine, connecting people basically all over the world, whether that's senior expertise to junior operators, or the reverse, having senior operators share their knowledge with remote students, for example. This has been implemented all over the world for the moment. It's being tested everywhere. And then we have more specific surgical devices, and those are currently in early tests within operation rooms. I can talk more about this in a one-to-one meeting.
Any specific type of surgery that we're focusing on?
For example, breast cancer is one of the main surgeries we're focusing on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions left? Okay, no more questions. Then thank you very much for the presentation. Very well done. Thanks a lot. Yeah, and if you want to follow up with our Spectra, please book a meeting now. You can do this again via the form Marcia is sharing in the chat. And we are now at the end of our fifth session here on MEDtech and eHealth. So a big thank you to our companies presenting today and also to the investors joining our session here and online. Here's an overview about our upcoming EIC events. We have another e-pitching this year on December 9. It's an e-pitch on mobility and transportation. So if you're interested in joining any of these sessions, just let me know. And I've also shared my email address for the people looking to broadcast who cannot click on the form. So if you want to book a meeting with any of the companies, either from this session or from the other sessions today and yesterday, just email me the name of the company and we try to set a meeting up on Monday. Or if you're not available, we can also connect outside and then you can touch base on your own. So thank you very much for participating again, and we see back in a couple of minutes on our last session today on biotech and pharmaceuticals. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.